Hi, bonjour. You want to study in France and you don't know what it is like? So I will tell you from a French perspective, what is it to study in France? So basically, I did my bachelor's in Clermont-Ferrand, which is a small, nice city in the middle of the mountain, in the middle of France. It's a little bit lost, but it's very beautiful. And if you want to be close to nature and you love hiking as well, maybe this is the best city for you to go to and to study in. In Clermont-Ferrand, I did a bachelor's in French-German relations and European studies. So naturally also studied a year in Germany. It was in Regensburg, which is a small town in Bavaria, very cute as well. And I had the chance then to have both experiences in the French universities and German universities. And I'm willing to tell you about that, but maybe this video is a little bit too short for that, so I will come back to that a little bit later. So subscribe for more. And then I did my master's in Paris at Sciences Po, which is one of the best universities in political science and international relations. Also recognized abroad. So if you want to pursue a career in social and human sciences, maybe it's the best university for you. Sciences Po is also recognized for being a very international university. Around 50% of the students are coming from abroad. And fun fact, actually the first contact that I had with the Indian person was at Sciences Po. It was an Indian student who wanted to improve her French skills, and at that time I wanted also to speak better English, so we just kind of partnered to help each other. And I learned a lot through her. I'm really thankful as well, and that's how also I got familiar a little bit with the Indian culture, and I think Indian and French are not that different, to be honest. Both cultures are very warm, very social, and if you meet open-minded people, I think on both sides, Indian and French are really good partners in life and professionally as well. Because with both, I think, cultures, people that are late in life, maybe Indians a little bit more than French, but we have these same standards kind of of never being on time. So yeah, this is my experience about studying in France in general, and I have so much more to tell you about that. If you want to know more about Sciences Po, if you want to know more about Paris or Clermont-Ferrand and other cities in France, I'm really happy to share my experience there. In France, we have a beautiful country with a lot of different landscapes as well. You can study by the sea, you can study in the mountain, you can study in colder climate as well. So it really depends. You have a lot of choice. We have very good universities, private and public universities, depending on your budget. You just have to keep in mind that France is a very elitist country, so it depends on the career you want to pursue. But yeah, you have to be very mindful when it comes to selecting a university in France, because some programs are better than others, and you need to be aware of that. And that's why here on this channel, we want to make you aware of the possibility, the opportunities that you have for studying in France, and so that you can pursue the best career. Studying in German universities is a little bit different than studying in French universities, because the German way of learning is a bit more theoretical. So there in Germany, you will learn a lot about theories, you will learn a lot about methodology especially, while in France it's a little bit more practical. So basically in Germany you will write more thesis, so it's more appreciated, for example, to write thesis or mini thesis as well. So you have always, at the end of your bachelor's or at the end of your master's, you will write a thesis, but you will also write mini thesis during what we call Semesterferien, which are basically holidays between both semesters. And in France it's not very common. I mean, it depends what you study. Of course, if you do a PhD, I think you will do a lot of research and you will need to follow a stricter methodology, but basically based on my experience at Sciences Po, which is a very pragmatic university, and the course that I did was a course in European affairs, so in the School of Public Affairs. So I was trained to work for the German government or the German administration, and there it's really important to have very pragmatical skills and to be able to have synthetic skills as well, and to be able to write very short notes that will help your boss, for example, to understand a problematic in a very short time. So for that, we follow a methodology that is very different, that is not very scientific, but more pragmatic. And so it really depends what you're looking for. And of course, it depends on the program as well that you're following. So politically, France and India are really close. There are already some diplomatic agreements that makes the way easier for Indian students to study in France, such as like some degrees, for example, are recognized both ways. So France is really willing to welcome a lot of Indian students and really good university. I mean, universities in France are really keen on welcoming international students in general because it really highs up their reputation also internationally. The more international students you have, the better reputation or the more famous or known you are on the international level. So this is like a very good asset for universities in France, and especially elitist university and public or private universities such as Sciences Po, but also other business schools, for example. So you have an advantage where you're an international student with good grades, with a nice social background is really important. Of course, studying in France can be a little bit costly. It depends where you're based. There are cities that are a little bit more affordable, but if you study in Paris, for example, the rent is pretty high, and usually if you study in business schools, public and private schools, the fees are pretty high as well. What really matters is your personality and who you are, and especially what kind of experience you have. So, for example, if you had the chance to have experience also abroad, to study abroad or to do some exchange or to, I don't know, like run some project also abroad, it's always a nice thing to have if you're into also volunteering as well, if you have a passion, if you play an instrument, if you're really into sport, for example. These are the things that at least at Sciences Po matters to get in. And they really want to have diversity there. They want to have a lot of a diverse profile, and they really welcome each cultures, and especially Indian culture. So yeah, if you want to study in France, it's better for you if you learn the language. So you don't need to know French before coming here. You always have opportunity also to take classes, and especially if you're a student, there will be classes for you that you can follow, you can take in order to improve your French. Based on my experience also, I know people who came to France after graduating and who didn't speak a word of French and managed to have a great career there, also in Paris. So this is not an obstacle at all, but it's also it's always better to learn the language because you will have more opportunities there. Secondly, French is a hard language. Gotta say, it's not the easiest one. But a lot of words are very similar to English words, just the pronunciation is a little bit different. And it's like everything, it's really like if you want to do a new sport or if you want to learn an instrument, it takes time, it takes effort. So I don't think French is impossible, but yeah, this is a language that takes some effort also to learn. And if you speak French, you may have also opportunities not only in France, but also in other countries, such as, for example, Swiss, where French is one of the official language there. Belgium as well, where some people speak also French there. French used to be the language of diplomacy. So if you want to pursue a career in international relations, it's always a plus to know French. And in a lot of countries, for example, diplomats need to speak French, such as Germany, for example. If you want to be a diplomat in Germany, you need to have a good level of French, even though maybe you won't use it that much. So I know how it can be complicated for international students to access the right information, especially when this is such an important steps in your life to study in the right university, in the right program, and to select the city where you can have fun, where you can feel that this is the right environment for you. France is a very diverse country. We have very diverse climates as well. The cultures can be different if you go, whether you live in the north or in the south. So this is important for you to have the right information so that you don't regret when you come to France, and you don't, that you can have maximum of fun. This channel is made for you so that you can have a broader understanding of the French culture, but also of the opportunities of studying in France. And yeah, just like and subscribe for more.